We are live somewhat. Tried to. Thanks for your patience. For some reason, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Motorcycle Rewind. And I apologize for some reason the live on the other one didn't pick up my webcam, which is built into the computer. Didn't pick it up, so we ended up with something that was just a black screen. Probably some audio. Who knows? But we're here to do a shop update and all kinds of other fun stuff, which is what we're going to do. Not sure if, we're just going to go through and we're going to do this because it's fun. And we're going to give away some stuff. So, which is really cool. I apologize for anybody that had to endure me showing my age and not knowing how to use technology, but we'll update everything and we'll make it work perfectly. Here's to you. So first thing I want to start with is today is all the way from Croatia. Hey Daniel, nice to see you. Today is the 15th of the month, and as you guys may or may not know, we are doing a video a day every day for the month of May, which is working out tremendously, and it's been really great. I often get asked the question, how often? Hey Donnie, how often or how can you put out so many videos? Well, it just makes it easier for me. I don't know about you guys, but I end up in, and we're going to go through some projects here in a little while, but I go through project fatigue. And just being in the shop and working in here, sometimes I get a little stuck. And doing it, having the accountability of posting a video every day, I have to get more stuff done. And that helps me. That's been tremendous with what's going on. And I was in a little bit of a rut before. I was coming out of it maybe in April, just in trying to figure out how to stay focused. And this has really helped a lot. So we're really like that. And we're going to go through some of the projects we have in the shop, some of the important things we have going on, some of the things that, well, I say important things, some of the things that we have going on that are super important. The reason why I said important things, because this guy, that is probably the most important motorcycle we have in the shop, which is my granddaughter's mini trail, which it's coming along really good. We've stopped on it right now only because I wanted to let this paint cure fully before I mask it off, and then we have to paint the pink, the top part of the tank pink, and then we have to do we've got two more steps. We've got to paint the top pink, we've got to add some glitter to all of the pink, and then we've got to add clear to everything. So I wanted to make sure that that white was fully cured before I masked it off, because it was going to be masked off for, probably a day or so. Just wanted to make sure that that was done fully, and I do that, but it is coming along great. The rest of everything for her bike is right here on this cart. So the wheels are done, the fenders are there, handlebars. I've got to rebuild the front forks. All of that stuff is stuff that we're doing for it. The next one I'll show you is this CB200. 1970, I want to say 75, 1975 CB200. This was the one that, if you saw, had the cam that was just destroyed. I put it back in the top end. Cam that was just destroyed, just had been ate up. So we're going to, we were able to find a complete top end that was together for just a fraction. We got so lucky on that because it needed, at minimum, it needed the points holder, because that's where the end of the cam rides, and then it needed the cam itself. Just that what the only ones we could find, a cam itself, the only ones we were finding used were like $150, and they had the same problem. Not to the extent that this one did, but it had the same problem where it started to eat itself. And so, with that being said, we found that top end super cheap. I think it ended up being landed here. I think it was maybe $65, which was awesome for being able to do that. And really helped us out, saved the guy a lot of money, and he doesn't have to spend a lot of money on it because the only cam I could find that was guaranteed good was an NOS one. It was $800, and that was a bit too much for what we were doing. And so that worked out really well. The other thing we have, I'll show you some projects that we haven't started on, like this little GT80, Yamaha GT80. We have to here's the engine, another engine. This engine is no good. We've got I'm waiting on the parts from the guy, so we'll end up tearing this guy completely down and then bringing it back up, which will be a lot of fun. I like small displacement motorcycles just because they don't take up a lot of room. And speaking of small displacement motorcycles, this little Trail 70 ST70 has been a lot of fun. It is rough, but it's getting better. And what we're doing in the process is we're kind of cleaning up everything along the way. We're not restoring this motorcycle by all means. He may paint this after we're done. He may want to go ahead and paint it. And if that's the case, we'll take it apart. But we're just cleaning up the bits and pieces just to make it look better so that we can then move ahead. And yeah, if one paint mini trail is not enough, there's my friend Tracy's. He's gone ahead and painted it. And then there's the other mini trail that we have to do. Tracy has his engine. He's cleaning it up right now. And his engine is a runner. His engine runs. So once we put that in, we'll be able to put all the bits and pieces in. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one of these engines. We'll put it together for this one for Nathan, for my friend Nathan. And that's awesome. And being able to put those two together and to be able to make it work, I'm super excited about. And to have three of them, but this one over there, come on, just looking at it on the bench is pretty awesome to be able to see it. Now, talking about project fatigue and what happens when you end up with a project that you really don't want to look at anymore. And this CB350, for some reason, for those of you who saw the video, this was the 24-hour build, and I have yet to find motivation to get back to it. I spent 24 hours straight on it, and we weren't able to finish it up because if you watch the video, if you haven't, spoiler alert, it's when we knew it had a valve problem, but I already had a whole valve train, so that was going to be okay. But I didn't realize that when I took the top end off that I was going to find a hole in the piston. I didn't have a piston. We ended up sourcing the piston in that 24-hour period, got it back together. We got it almost back together, and it just didn't work. But we did a lot of fabrication. We built the seat hoop. We made this tank fit on it in the time period. We rebuilt the battery box to make it sit the battery back a little bit more so it'd be serviceable. But then after that, I really don't have, how do I put this? Steve, you're right. I just said, I don't know if I want to look at it anymore. And I've moved it around a couple of times. I've even moved it to the middle of the garage and where this CL350 is right now to maybe inspire me to. But my goal is to have it running and ride it before the end of this month. The great thing about having 16 more videos to do this month is I've got to get stuff done. So I've got to get stuff done. And speaking of stalling, so did this is 7071 American Eagle Laverda. And we are just running into, you see how its guts are hanging out. This was one that came to us completely disassembled. It was in bags and bins and having to restore it and refresh it, bring it back, put it back together. There's not a lot of literature on it. And this wiring harness has been driving me bananas. And so the great thing about having multiple projects is when you get kind of frustrated with one, I just jump on another one, build some confidence in the other one, then I'll come back to it. That helps me kind of move forward with that stuff. Some of you guys may recognize this SL350. I picked it up earlier this year and then sold it. I got it running. That was the one that kind of famously had a bad transmission. And when I talked to the guy, asked him how he diagnosed the bad transmission, he said, well, let me show you. And he went to roll it and it made noise. And the problem was it had sat for so long that the chain was rusted, and the chain trying to go over the sprocket is what was happening. So we rebuilt that transmission with some PB Blaster. And then the guy that bought it a month or so, 2 months later, after he bought it, he's a friend of mine. He sent me a message and asked me if I'd restore it for him. And I was excited because I really liked the bike. I wasn't going to spend the money to restore it. I didn't like it that much. And so now I get to restore one with somebody else's wallet, which is fun to me. So right now we're searching for pipes, the correct front end. We've got the correct triple tree. We're just looking for shocks, the right length, the right front wheel, and things like that. And then we'll make this guy really good. It's on the back burner on purpose. We're shopping for parts, and our hope is to get all the parts in and then just do it all pretty quickly, not to have to waste a lot of time on that. This I haven't showed, this hasn't been on the channel yet. It's an CL350 that a friend of mine that he came to me, he said, can you just help me out? I'm not having spark. I don't know what's going on with my spark. I don't know what's happening. And I've got no power to the points. And so I said, yeah, bring it over. I'll do it. I'll help you out. And going through the wiring, we found out that the plugs were just in the wrong spot. So it took us 10 minutes to find out we had spark. And it was already off the trailer in here. And I just said, okay, I'll put it all back together. And it was crazy because the wires right here, they had the horn plugged into where the coil is, and it's a simple mistake. It's a black and white wire, and for the ignition, and a black wire for the horn. So that was just a little thing, but he's got all the bits and pieces, and it's in great shape. I can't wait to finish putting it together. It'll be a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, and we talked about the Trail 70 already, this guy. What's been so much fun is I had picked up a parts lot just a couple of weeks ago, right? Maybe a couple of weeks ago, because I needed parts for my granddaughter's mini trail. So in the parts lot, it had Z50 parts, which was mostly what I was into, but then it had some CT70, Trail 70 parts. So everything I've needed so far for this bike, I've just dug through that parts lot and found it. So it's been great. It's been like having my own parts department and being able to find those bits and pieces, clean them up, and put them on. So that's been a lot of fun. We haven't had to spend to get to where we are now. I think we're like $50 into what we've done to it without parts, buying parts that I didn't already own. So that's been loads of fun being able to see that. There are, I think, probably the biggest thing, and this is probably going to be the biggest, how do I put this? It may cause the biggest amount of problem. So we do have a CB450 KO, right? It's back over here in this, sitting right here. Remember, it's got the engine out. We took the engine out of it. We took the engine out of it to find out what was wrong with it because it had no compression, and we found out it was just bad. The crank is bad. Look, trying to turn it, the crank barely turns. So if I get this guy here, it's still stiff, and there's nothing there. And all the pieces and parts for it to try to restore this engine and to bring it back to the way it would need to. is going to cost, just in parts, is going to cost about $2,000 plus just for that. And so the guy whose bike it is, he wants to ride it. He wants to build a rider, right? So he's not looking to restore this to put it in a up on a pedestal in his garage and leave it there. So what we ended up finding for a fraction of the cost was it ends up being a CL 450. I think it's a 1972 CL 450 running engine, 150 psi on each cylinder, and comes with a warranty. And it was 700 and some odd dollars landed. And the only way you could tell the difference from that engine, from the outside, meaning walking up to it, is if you look at the engine number. They're identical from the outside, but it does have a 5-speed transmission. So this one's going to have a 5-speed transmission versus the 4-speed. And what we're going to do is just put that other engine back together so that if he ends up selling the motorcycle down the line, or if down the line he wants to spend the money to restore it, he can restore that engine, kind of collect pieces and parts for it over time while he's still enjoying the bike, and then just one day just go from the old engine, from the 72 engine into the other one. I think it's a smart way to do it. You'll never know. And that's what's in this box. So that just came in, which we're super excited. We're trying to clear the deck so that we can then move that guy in. And then once we do that, it'll be awesome. That should come together pretty quickly, right? Because the carbs are cleaned. We've already cleaned the carbs. We've already done all the other work. It's just putting this engine in the frame, putting everything together, and hopefully in a day we can have a running motorcycle, which would be awesome. Then he can go about using it and not have to worry so much, because this was the other deciding factor for him. He still has to buy a left exhaust, I believe, a right exhaust, and a seat. So he's already looking at another $700-800 just to get it to where it is with the old parts on the outside. And we haven't bought tires yet or anything like that. So trying to manage his money when it comes to that. Now, I know purists are going to say, well, Eric, that's not what you should do. You should go ahead and restore it. I agree. You should restore it. I believe that should happen down the line. Financially, I don't think it fits for him right now. And so and if you can't tell from the outside, and if you're going to ride it and you end up with 5 speeds instead of 4, I think it's a better decision. So the hardest thing for me to do is that box came in at the end of last week. And the hardest thing for me to do has been to not open it. I don't know about you guys, but I love shiny stuff. Shiny meaning new stuff. Doesn't mean it's new, it's just new to me. And new project could be it, right? Just whatever it is, it rolls in, and trying to stay disciplined to not do it. Which leads me to probably one of the biggest. You got to be careful what you ask for, right? And I say you got to be careful what you ask for, because they show up. I made a statement earlier this year that I wanted an early 80s Honda Goldwing. And like I said before, you have to be very careful what you ask for, because they show up. Again, this is the carburetor for my 1981 Goldwing. That the engine's free, it turns over, it has compression, it obviously needs a carburetor put on it, it'll need service work done, and I got it for free. Like I said, be careful what you ask for. It came in a lot of motorcycles that I got for free. The 81 GL 1100, a CB 175 back in a roller minus the front wheel with no engine, and a CB 550 and a CB 500. Those two engines are stuck, but they can all be freed up. It's a nice roller. Most of the pieces minus seat, side covers, and tank. But to be able to put those things together. So we got a lot of really great things in the works. Probably the biggest thing that we have coming up in the the near future is this guy right here. We're coming up on it's been a year that we've had the motorcycle. It's not quite a year from when it first ran. We picked up the bike at the last of, yeah, it would have ran already. The end of, in April, we got it got it engine freed up, I think on the 3rd or 4th of April. And then its first ride was the 4th of June was the first time I actually sat on it and rode it. It ran before then. And then on June 6th, 2023 is when we took off on our 3,000-mile road trip from Slidell, Louisiana, where we live, to Erie, Colorado round trip on an unproven, untested motorcycle. So the anniversary of that event is coming up, which is pretty cool. And we got something kind of special coming out, telling the story of that motorcycle, which has been kind of a cool motorcycle. I don't know about you guys. It's normally not my cup of tea. And that's for you, Martin. It's normally not my cup of tea, but meaning I like disc brakes. I like points. I like a little older, 83. I prefer middle 70s and earlier is what I like. So wasn't for me, but it fit exactly what I needed when I got it. And it's been such an amazing motorcycle. It's been such a great motorcycle to own. We've put on this guy, we put 6,000 miles on this free motorcycle that was stuck, that was somebody's garbage. And as it sits right now, we have a little over $800 in it. I think I probably put more than that in gas. No, I didn't put that much in gas, but we spent a lot of time and energy on this motorcycle and not a lot of money, which is probably the basis of our channel, the basis of this channel. It's easy to go out and spend lots of money to load the parts cannon and go ahead and do that. But I would prefer to get it going with as little money as possible and just make it happen, and then make it prettier as we go down the line, because this guy has gotten better looking as we move through it, and it's awesome. It's going to get some love here on the channel. There hasn't been a video apart from the riding video that I did a couple of weeks ago. There hasn't been a real focus on that motorcycle, which it needs some attention, which we're going to give it to it. We're going to give it a good tune up, oil change, all of that other stuff. So we've got some really cool things in the works. We still have some other motorcycles that we hadn't even talked about that we're going to get to. Don't worry about it. So there are a couple of things. I think I've got to go up. I'm going to do, if there are any questions you guys have for where we are, what we're doing. Our channel is about a little over 2 years old. It was 2 years. First video went up, I think, in April. So 2 years ago. No, maybe March. I'd have to look back. But the other big thing is on Sunday. Sunday will mark our 300th video. It'll be the 300th video in a little over 2 years that we've done. Last year, we showed 49 different motorcycles on the channel, and our goal is to be over 50 this year, just different motorcycles to be able to see it. And so we have something kind of cool planned for the video that's coming out Sunday at noon, and it's going to be a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun. I couldn't thank you guys enough for the support. It's still humbling every day. I do this every day when I do this, and I look online that people actually watch these videos, because this channel started very humbly, and it started not because I wanted to become, because I'm too old to be a YouTuber, but it started very humbly. Simply, my wife said, "You're in there talking to yourself. You might as well record it." And second, our grandson had just been born, and I'd never had the hang out in the garage with your grandfather experience. So I wanted to make sure that I record stuff for him so that he, at one point in time in his life, he knows how to do stuff, hopefully. That, and plus, let's be honest, there's a little bit of ulterior motive in there. Both Nora, not quite so much yet because she's only 2, but Jackson being 4, almost he'll be 5, that he thinks I can do anything because he sees me do it. He sees me make crappy motorcycles run. And if anything else, if he watches that video of me on the GPZ later on in life, he's inspired to do something that works, right? So that's where the channel started. So I am amazed that other people watch it, and it's been fun. It's been loads of fun. We're at nearing 13,000 subscribers, on our way to see what else happens. I don't think you guys can see. This is. I will share this in as we get towards the end. This is our kind of projects that we have going on that are happening, and that are in the works, right? The Mini Trail Mania, which we're into right now, the Attic 750. I didn't even talk about it, but the Attic 750 is this guy right here, 750 engine that I built, just waiting. I'm just waiting for space to clear up so I can put that together. I had bought. Let me spin this thing around. I had. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I had bought this parts of this CB750 for $100, and the engine was in Ziploc bags, so I put it back together to see what would happen, and so we're just waiting on all of that stuff, making it happen. There is still the salvage scooter that we're working on. I'll give you guys an update on that. We're going to refresh the Dream. We do want to make a lap around Florida. The Yellow Benelli is in there. The CB200 engine rebuild, which we're in the middle of. The CL450, which we started, we have to finish. More work on the Bomber. I'm going to go do a tour of, we've got some exciting plans. I know you guys can't read it, but I can. Exciting plans for the Barber Museum, things we're going to do there. And then I've got some collections that I'm going to tour, some private collections that I'm going to tour to share with you guys that are amazing. The great thing is I've got good friends that have great motorcycles, and they're willing to share them with other people. Some are one of ones, and which is pretty awesome. So we've got those in the works. We're working on doing that. I think, is there anything else I missed out on there? No. Oh, Honda Matic's going to get some love, and then that's kind of where it is. This is how. Yeah, I do too. And I love private tours, and to be able to see them. We've got some fun things planned for Barber. And if you guys haven't been to the Barber Museum, the Barber Museum is the world's largest motorcycle museum. It's in Leeds, Alabama. You don't even have to like motorcycles to love this place. It is so well done. It's such a well done museum. The motorcycles are displayed like art because they are, and we've got some pretty cool things that we're going to do there. One of them is spending time with the lead restorer at the Barber Museum, and so we're working that out to see if we can get to that, because I think it's interesting. The great thing about having this YouTube channel is I can leverage it to talk to people I maybe wouldn't be able to talk to before. And so that's what I'm trying to do to really get to this stuff to share. It gives me access. So that's what I really like. And it's been loads of fun to be able to do this. And I couldn't do it without you guys. And I always tell people, if you have a hobby, you should start a YouTube channel, and not to become a YouTuber, but to be around other people and to create a community around the same things you like. And yeah, Barber is amazing, and it's such an amazing thing. And if you get a chance to like I said before, just to start a YouTube channel, if you're into stamp collecting, start it, because you'll find more people into stamp collecting. I tell everybody they should do it. Plus, there's an accountability that comes with it. The more you do it, the more accountable you are to the work, right? If I've got a production schedule, like right now, it's every single day that I've got to put out a video, then I've got to get stuff done. So I'm not just, yeah, you're so right, Joe. And I touch on that. And it, your statement, find it makes me better at my hobbies. I believe you have to, and I was talking to my son about this the other day. I believe you'd have to be a psychopath to not do something, watch yourself do it, edit yourself doing that thing that you just did to not get better at it. You have to be in complete denial of your skills, so you have to get better at it, which I love it. I still will not show welding on the channel. Just not going to do it. Why? Because I'm not a welder. And it's yeah, it's definitely not fun when you put $5,000 in a $3,000 bike. I'm not going to share that welding I do because I'm not going to share the process. There are people, if you want to watch people weld, watch people weld. Don't watch some idiot in his garage using a hot glue gun to stick metal together, because that's basically what I'm doing. I'm not a welder, and I own a welder. There's some things that I just won't do. But yeah, so if you get a chance, if you like something, do it, share it, creates this community. The other thing I love about this community is you guys have the answers, which I think is so amazing, and you're so willing to share. You're so willing to share your answers, and that's amazing. Because without it, so many times I get information from you guys because I am not an expert. Let's be very clear. I am not an expert. I'm a guy in his garage that is willing to give it a go. I was talking to my son the other day, and I said, my superpower is that I'm willing to give it a shot. Will I be successful? Probably not, but I'm willing to give it a go. Do I know how to do it? No, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Yes, that's the only thing I have going for me. But that gets me through a lot, because that first step is the worst step, right? But once you do it, but talking about how willing you guys are to share, and I'm so thankful for this. I'm so thankful that we created this community. Is when I was on the road on our 3,000-mile road trip, day 2, we broke down. Struggled. I was at BJ's from Brickhouse Builds in St. Louis. We're struggling with it. Thankfully, I was posting every day of this trip. And a guy from Sweden, Tommy from Sweden, reached out, sent me an email while we were in the middle of not being able to figure it out. And I saw the email, started reading the email. Before I finished the first one, I got a second one. Before I even finished the first one, a third one came in. And all I did was respond to him, say, can you talk right now? And we did a Google meetup. He's in Sweden. We're in St. Louis, Missouri. And he talked us through exactly how to fix it. And we were back on the road an hour later. That's the power of this. And if we would have never started this, we'd still be digging through it, because people are willing to share. And that's amazing. I truly appreciate that. And I'm humbled by that, because that's kind of what works. And I truly love it. And I truly love that you guys are coming along and are willing to suffer through my madness, my ADD at times. I am not, how do I put this? I am not an expert. I'm just a guy in his garage and willing to do it. And yeah, Joe, you're so right. The community is amazing. Oh, one other thing I want to touch on is we're still doing our talking motorcycle segments, which I love. My favorite thing, and I always say this, the motorcycles are cool. The stories are way cooler, because you may not always own the motorcycles, but you're always going to own those stories. And I love hearing the stories from you guys, because everybody has one, and we've had some amazing installments so far of that, and we're going to keep doing it because I think they're fun. The one thing we are going to do moving forward after the one that we already have that we're almost finished editing is we're going to condense them a little bit. We're going to make them a little shorter, just so that they're bite-sized stories, so they're not so much to handle. I think couple of things. One, those are the videos that take me the longest to edit. They probably take 4 or 5 times at least the length of the video to edit it. So if I'm sitting down, it's going to take me 5 or 6 hours, or 4 or 5 hours to get that video edited, where my other ones don't take me quite that much time. It's just a little bit more intensive. So if I make them a little shorter, it'll be a little easier for both ends, for me to edit, and a little easier for you guys to watch it if you do. And we keep the stories more succinct. The one we have coming up, and I share with you guys on this, is the only thing I'm going to tell you about. It's about 2 sons that stole their father's motorcycle and had it restored. As soon as I saw this video, I said, I need to talk to these people, because it was an amazing story, and I loved it, and it was such an amazing conversation. And thanks, Mary Kay. Really enjoyed, such an amazing story. Sorry about my ADD. Such an amazing story, and that one's coming out really soon. It's great. You know, it has been loads of fun, guys. I love it. We've got lots of exciting things coming on, and feel free to let me know. Hey, Annecy, I probably wrecked it all the way from Germany. But and if you're joining late, as soon as this video ends, as soon as it ends, or you can scrub back to the beginning and start it over from right there. So when we end it, so you don't just end. Joe, thank you so much. I want to thank you guys, as always, for watching yet another episode of Motorcycle Rewind. And do me a favor, like, tag, share, and follow us on Instagram at Motorcycle Rewind. And for everybody that joined in on this live, I'm going to send me an email to motorcyclerewind@gmail, and I'll send you something in the mail. Probably some stickers. Probably some of these stickers. Maybe something else, because we have some other. A friend of mine gave me a whole bunch of old patches, so I've got some things. So send me an email, motorcyclerewind@gmail, regardless of where you are in the world, and I'll pop some stuff in the mail and I'll send it to you, because I really appreciate it. Oh, that's awesome. RD350. I love it. So thanks again, guys. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.